Hi, I'm Neil Leahy, owner of Butler and Stag estate agents. Okay, so from a sales perspective, essentially sellers' expectations are a lot easier to be managed, and buyers are looking for what they deem to be value for money. So for the sellers that are listening to us and taking our advice, we're achieving relatively quick sales at asking price and close to. From a lettings perspective, there seems to be an overwhelming amount of property available. So many sellers that are not quite achieving the prices that they were hoping for are deciding to let their property, and that's adding to supply and effectively slowing down the market. I'd say essentially, you've got to be organised and clear in terms of, what you're setting out to do. So in terms of the areas that you want to be in, decide where you want to be and what it is you're looking for quite quickly on. Make sure you build good relationships with a local agent that understands your search criteria and is giving you the support and the help that you need. And then, get out there and look at some property, decide on what you feel is value for money, and make sure you try and see as much as possible. Look, from a first-time buyer's perspective, obviously budget is going to play a huge part. London's not a cheap area to be in, and certainly not East London with the way prices have risen over the last 3 to 4 years. So areas such as Bow and the surrounding areas seem to be, slightly more affordable than say neighbouring Hackney or Islington, which are the other 2 London boroughs that we cover. So Tower Hamlets and in particular Bow is a good area to concentrate on. Look, much of what I've seen, in the time that I've worked around this area, there's always going to be fluctuations in the market. One thing that you can say with regards to areas such as Tower Hamlets and Hackney, very rarely have they ever dropped in value. If there ever has been any kind of correction, it's been very minimal, so under 5%, and that's really just during a period of stabilisation, and then prices seem to fight back and push on very quickly. So generally, I think for the future, certainly the immediate future, is prices are stabilising. In terms of a unit perspective, we undoubtedly do more lets than sales, but from a monetary perspective, our sales commissions are a lot greater than lettings. So in terms of revenue and turnover, sales without question. We're now into our 4th year. Our 5th anniversary is in February 2017, and our business has grown very quickly and healthily, as is our client base. So essentially, I guess what we've really noticed is that the area's gone from somewhere that's very affordable to kind of neighbouring parts of London to an area that's now very desirable and affluent by its own right. So from kind of low to mid income earners has now changed to kind of high-end earners. Those from finance, banking, accountancy, law firms, and essentially that's supported more price rises in the area as well. I guess that in the same kind of upward scale, in that prices are now at a level where only those that are on high enough salaries can afford to live here. So to be buying a house, for instance, say in London Fields now, you're looking at a minimum of £1 million, so which likely is to continue to rise, and essentially that will continue to attract the same kind of buyer and tenant. In this area, those that want to be in central Shoreditch, in and around kind of Shoreditch Triangle, those that are looking for lofts and warehouse spaces, from a family perspective, London Fields, Victoria Park, North and South Bow conservation areas for good quality schooling and family houses. And also now Clapton as well. Clapton's really emerged over the last 2 to 3 years in and around Chatsworth Road. Schools are now being graded, outstanding by Ofsted, so that's also a very popular family-orientated area. guess, look, from a buyer's perspective, now, you know, there's less competition out there. You know, if you're pursuing properties, you're going to be doing it on your own, maybe against one or two other interested parties, where in recent years, you know, every property was being sold via an open day with multiple offers coming in for the same property. So buyers were having to bid blind, make quick decisions and pay over asking prices. Now, you know, there's an opportunity to buy in more of a relaxed environment, take your time, make sure you're picking the right property. From a seller's perspective, it really does depend on your own personal circumstances. If you own a property that you let out, if you don't need to sell, now's probably not the time to. But if you're looking to move within the market and maybe trade up, effectively, if you might feel as though you're losing 5% on your sale, but you're making that back on your purchase, if you're buying up the ladder, generally, you know, it's a bigger saving in terms of what you may be able to buy. Rates of borrowing are still extremely cheap as well, so, you know, there's many reasons to make that move today.